So Tronald Dump accidentally said President Newsom, right? He calls Newsom the president. He made an oopsie. Happens all the time. Like, even when you write a script yourself, you then screw it up when you're reading your own script, right? Happens all the time. Now, it's funny, and I understand people making jabs at it. Not a problem. But I do think it exposes something. One, about how petty our politics has become, but also about how the left views Newsom. Now, first, let's look at Trump's words.
With a low IQ person, because Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think a president should not have learning disabilities, okay? And I know it's highly controversial to say such a horrible thing. The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb, but with a low...
Right. So there he calls him the president and repeatedly insults his intelligence, which insulting someone's intelligence is the second most common insult after insulting their physical appearance, because physical appearance, you don't need to know anything about someone besides what you see. Now, insulting a mental disorder, not exactly super highbrow, not that Trump exactly has a a history of that with things like the Kennedy Center and Obama and Biden's plaques and things like that. He's surprisingly lowbrow with his insults to people, considering how he presumably views himself as the golden god or whatever. But I do think, like, generally you probably should have a president who is not bound by any kind of restriction like that. Like, I didn't know dyslexia affected 1 in 5 people. I mean, in that case, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a dyslexic president before and maybe just didn't know it, or maybe we did and I just don't know about it. But his mad raving rants where he says things like this, they definitely do not reflect well on him and on our country. I mean, I saw the thing he said to the prime, like he was in an interview with the Prime Minister of Japan, Sanae Takaichi, earlier or yesterday or something, I can't remember, and he makes some random comment about how sneaky the Japanese are because of Pearl Harbor, sitting right next to her. It's like, oh god, dude, do you have to do that? Like, it's just outstanding sometimes, the things he says. But the fallout of this is everyone is leading into him being senile and deranged, and I really don't think that's the case with Trump. I think maybe he's lost a little bit of his charisma that he used to have, but he's just less restrained now. It's not that I think he's losing his mind. I just think that he's saying things that he probably shouldn't say because he's maybe gone a little bit power mad. But this narrative that he's lost his mind, it's so like tiring and regurgitated. There's the Independent saying that he's insulting Gavin Newsom whilst also calling him the president, which again, I have no problem with people saying the truth. I mean, that is the truth. But there's another person saying it. We also complain about the Iran war that Trump took us into. But importantly, what I really wanted to get to with this video is that this person at the end of it says that they're not a fan of Gavin Newsom.
The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom.
But now I'm starting to understand.
Smarter than you or something like that.
I'm no Gavin fan, but now I'm starting to understand why he made such a dumb decision to take us to war with Iran. Subscribe for more.
The president.
So even this guy who's feeding into this Trump is losing it kind of thing, even he doesn't like Gavin Newsom. And that's something I really noticed from this gaffe. Everyone thinks that this screw up by Trump is some horrible self-own. Now, it sort of is. I mean, it is, and it's also funny, but it reveals something that everyone already knew, which is that Gavin Newsom is just the Democratic Trump. I mean, all of these insane tweets he's made, this is a joke response to what Trump said. It's not a real thing, but it is seemingly by his office, and he's been doing this for a while, where is it here? Where he's responding like back and forth with Trump, like while Trump is making these comments, his press office is putting out responses like Grandpa's talking about himself again and encouraged him to seek mental treatment. And then he goes on and says equally deranged things, like just the same kind of crazy stuff that Trump says. Like he says, I spoke about my dyslexia. I know that's hard for a brain-dead moron who bombs children and protects PDF files to understand, in talking about Trump. And it's like, That's the kind of stuff you shouldn't say if you want to be president. You are talking like a Redditor. You can't talk like a Redditor if you want to be president, even though they do have a decent amount of sway over the general public's perception, which is what I'm going to eventually get to here. But you can't, you can't be a Redditor, man. People want a politician these days. We have had just total goofy crap for so long, and Biden kind of seemed like it, but in the end, he was basically unconscious as far as we know. But yeah, the last like real politician it feels like was Obama, and I mean, there was a whole thing with the war and Clinton's whole adultery business, and it's been silly, and I think everyone's a bit tired of it. And Newsom's talking about his dyslexia here, and he says it's the greatest thing in hindsight to happen to me. Yeah, you know what? I don't believe you when you say that. And that's another thing about Newsom. He seems to be a compulsive liar, just like Trump. Trump will say the sky is blue, the next day he'll say it's purple, and the day after that he'll say it's blue. Like it's just a problem. And then Newsom goes, see, everyone has gaffes. Newsom goes on to say, I mean, I have the freedom of not having to be stuck on the written text. Yeah, see, that's the opposite of freedom. I have the freedom to not be stuck on written text because I don't have dyslexia or any other cognitive disability, at least until I go blind anyway. But right now, I can read. I'm not bound by any kind of thing like not being able to read. I could choose. I have the freedom. You don't have the freedom. You can't read the text because you have dyslexia. So that's a weird thing to say, isn't it? I don't like to hear people just make up total BS like that. Trump does it too. I don't talk a lot about what Trump says because he does just make up things in order to sound smart for the cameras, and then later on those things get corrected. But Newsom does the same thing, and we're just going to have a Democrat Trump if we elect Newsom. He goes on to say, and the freedom of having to work harder, more reps behind the scenes, I'm doing, if you think you're working hard, trust me, I'm working 2 to 3 times in terms of work. That doesn't mean that you're like leveling up, bro. You're not like unlocking Super Saiyan, all right? You're just having to do more than I would have to do, which means that you have to expend more effort than I would have to expend, which means that you're either slower or less capable. Like it does end up being an issue, like hypothetically anyway. I don't know if dyslexia would actually be an issue for the president or not, but it's not like some sort of superpower he has. Oh God, I've just reminded myself of, what was it called? The Predators, that terrible Predator movie where autism was a superpower. But yeah, Newsom, he's no different than Trump. This is an official video on his short on his channel, which is the Trump story is a corruption story. I mean, it's just a smear piece about the president. This was like less than a week ago he put up. So it's just some weird thing they've got going on. But more importantly, Reddit. This was on the front page of Reddit, r/irony, which I've never seen on the front page of Reddit. It just says, I don't want Gavin as president, but this is hilarious. And it's talking about the slip-up Trump made. And the title of it is, I mean, that says everything you need to know. Well, okay, the fact that it's on Reddit and the title of it, that says everything you need to know. And someone says, cell phone 101 magna cum laude. It's a cell phone, sure, it's funny, yes, we all get the joke. But here's the funny part to me. Reddit, a hyper left-wing extremist fortress. Like, this is a sanctuary for extremist left-wingers who openly call for assassination. On the front page of Reddit, this was, I opened this 13 hours ago with 28,000 upvotes, and then it's been like a day now with 37,000. This again, front page of Reddit, the front page of a hyper left-wing website, and they are just openly saying, I don't want Gavin as president. They think that they're shitting on Trump here, but they are openly stating that they're not going to elect Gavin Newsom as president. And, that's, like, who are you going to elect then? AOC? She's openly racist and openly sexist. She hates America. She says the culture is imaginary. You're going to vote for AOC? Are you? Kamala? People don't want Kamala. They've already lost faith in Kamala. So, who is that? There's that new guy from Texas, I think, the pseudo Christian who says that he's loves trans kids. I mean, I know I'm taking that out of context, but it was still a weird thing to say. I mean, obviously the guy had that like locked and loaded, ready to say, and the woman phrased the question of like, "What do you love?" And he just said, "Oh, I love trans." Oh, that was I should have said that. That was really that was a gaffe as well on his part, I think. But
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
Um, I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children who showed up yesterday at the state capitol.
I mean, who are you going to vote for? That's the question. Democrats have nobody because their politics is basically just pandering to minorities and trying to tell you that if you don't elect them, then you're going to be attacked by the right wing, which is yet to happen, really, even though everyone keeps saying it. Anyway, I just thought it was funny how openly they were throwing Newsom under the bus. I almost feel bad for him, but he is a Trump clone, so I don't really feel bad for him. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please, if you like, do the YouTube things.